What's up, everybody? It's me, James, from AlchemyPhyt. You hear that noise? It's the Normatech. I'm getting some compression done. So, if you follow us on Instagram, I posted a video earlier. Me and Lawrence B. Hill, Larry, we ran a half marathon over in Buffalo Springs Lake, which is a little outside of Lubbock. It was a part of the West Texas Running Club. It was called the Buffalo Wallow. Per reputation, the toughest half marathon in Texas. Yeah. It felt like it. That was, for both of us, we have been training for that race for quite some time. For me, it was my first official marathon. I have run distances, half marathon distances, which is 13.1 miles. But this, by far, was the toughest race I've ever done in my life. It was the toughest run I've ever done in my life. It was physically the toughest thing I've ever had to do. And man, there's a lot of takeaways from something like that. For those, the biggest takeaway that I got was my newfound respect and growing respect for runners. We are a very different people. We are a very different type of athlete. There is some grit there that I think is not fully appreciated by a lot of fellow athletes when it comes to just runners, because we're just different. And I saw it on full display over at the Buffalo Wallow this past weekend. So if you're familiar with Lubbock, Texas does get this reputation for being flat, which, okay, it is. You know, we're surrounded by cotton fields and so forth. But when you go east, 10 miles east or so to Buffalo Springs Lake, Ransom Canyon area, it's a canyon. It's a canyon. There's hills, and it does not look like the rest of West Texas. I can't talk. So I had been training for this race all year by going to a park nearby and other parks where there are some hills. That wasn't enough when I was at the mile 9 mark, because it was 2 loops. That was 6 miles, give or take, around. And the second loop I did, that's when my body was like, uh-oh. So my left leg, my left quad, my left hamstring, my left glute was giving me trouble. My stomach started giving me issues on the second loop. So, I've told several people in the past few days that was the hardest 7 miles of my life, and I will stand by that until I do something else that's more difficult. And you live and you learn. Life is trial and error. And so I remember going up that hill, the first big hill on the second loop, thinking, all right, I did a lot right with training, and I also did a lot wrong with training. So, that was some of the other takeaways that I got from it. So, what I would encourage for a lot of people out there who have thought about running a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, or a full marathon, take your time with training. If you're really committed to it, if you really want to put the effort in it, you want to start as soon as you can. And be smart with it. Listen to your body. The past few weeks I did listen to my body. It was a good strategy. There's a few things that I will do differently. More dynamic stretches, more activation exercises, probably lay off the static stretching, because it was a maneuver I did, static stretching, that caused me to stop running for 3 weeks. So, nutrition-wise, I thought that was probably the best thing I did nutrition-wise, but then 2 days prior to the race, I said, okay, so I can have a pizza, I can have coffee again, because I gave up fast food. I gave up coffee for 2 weeks. So my body adjusted to that. Well, when I brought that back into the fold 2 days prior to the race, yeah, it felt good to have a slice of pizza. It felt good to sip on some coffee. But my body was like, not so fast, buddy, especially when I was going to put myself through that much stress when you're going up a hill, down a hill, up a hill, down a hill. So that I would definitely, I'm not going to do in the future. I just can't afford to do that. Wow. Just as I sit here, I'm getting this compression done and stuff, and I'm just thinking, I'm still contemplating it. I'm still going through the emotions of it. the high that Saturday, because I started at 9 and a little after 9 a.m. We started after 9 a.m. and a lot of us finished after 11. It took me 2 hours and 45 minutes. My goal was to finish the half marathon in a sub 2 hours and 30 minutes. That didn't happen. And that's okay. I, in the past, typically run faster during a race compared to when I'm running out on my own with no timer or anything like that. So I'll have to figure that one out, go back to the drawing board. And that's the fun part about running. That's just fitness in general. You're figuring stuff out. There is no one size fits all for everybody, despite what influencers on social media, so forth, gym goers. There is no one size fits all for everybody. So for me, that's the fun part, where I get to figure out and tweak my strategy. What do I do next time? What I don't do next time. And one other thing I want to talk about, I don't want to keep y'all, for those that are watching this, on here too long. Y'all got stuff to do, so do I. I have to give a shout out to the West Texas Running Club. They put on a great event, but when we were going through that race, because it was a 2-mile race, a 10K, and the half marathon. When it was down to us half marathoners, that second loop, that's when I saw grit. That's when I saw everyone's will. That's when I saw the core identity of what the West Texas Running Club is about. But with that being said, I think what most running clubs are about, period. Perseverance, sheer will, just this grit. And to see everybody else, because at that point we were tired, especially around that 2-hour mark. We were stopping, starting. We'd walk, we'd jog, we'd run, and we'd repeat. To see the struggle amongst all of us, but to also see us keep going, that inspired me. So I want to thank and applaud the rest of the runners out there who were doing that, because y'all helped push me to finish that race. Because as much as I'd like to say I didn't want to quit, not once, there were plenty of times during that race, especially on the second loop around that 8-9 minute mark, where I was, I wanted to quit. I didn't quit, but I wanted to. And seeing y'all go up that hill, down that hill, really pushed me to keep going, because y'all kept going. And I have developed a newfound respect for runners. I've always respected runners. I'm a runner myself. I lift weights and so forth, but I'm a runner at heart. I discovered a new gear within myself when running a race like that officially, especially amongst other runners and people. And so my hat's off to the West Texas Running Club for putting on an event like that. Will I run it back next year? Maybe. There is a race up in the Pacific Northwest in November that I would like to go do. It is a half marathon, because it was up in the Pacific Northwest where I really truly discovered my passion for running. And I would like to revisit that area and just, hey, let's go for another 13 miles up there. So all in all, folks, I know that we're going to have another episode of the podcast coming up here this week. If you do follow it, and if you do subscribe to this channel, thank you very much. We're getting started, and we appreciate all the supports and the likes from everybody on YouTube and Instagram and so forth. So, I'll save a little bit more for the podcast with Madison. She's not here today. It's just me in my house. She's off doing her thing, and I'm here, getting my legs compressed because I need it. I need it. I think it's going to be about another week before I'm feeling about 100%. I'm still going to lift some weights. I didn't lift for 2 weeks to get my joints some rest, and I did lift a little bit today. Nothing too heavy. It felt good, but recovery is going to be on the agenda for the rest of the week. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go. I appreciate y'all's support. If you're a runner out there and you did some runs this past weekend, whether it was a 5K, 10K, congratulations. You did a half marathon. Congratulations. My friend Paisley, she did a full marathon over in Indianapolis. Much congratulations to her. She's an inspiration to a lot of us here in Lubbock that, play fantasy football with her and stuff. So congratulations, Paisley, on another marathon for you. So anyways, y'all take care. I'm gonna let y'all go. I will see y'all on the podcast or whatever crazy video I post on Instagram. Adios.